Okay, so here's the thing. Fam. You see how it says we weren't able to add your reply? Please try again. I'm almost 100% positive that means that they've yet again deleted my motherfucking comment, which I'm fairly certain is unconstitutional censorship at this point, considering the context. So let's try this again. And that is what happened. That's exactly what happened. There. How about that?
Hey everyone, it's me.
And let's not keep this going all night, but double check. Let's see if those comments stayed. They did not. What a fucking surprise. Okay, now let's go back to the last video, which is this one. Let's see if my comments stayed here. Wow, they didn't even stay here. Now you know that there's a problem. All of my comments are getting deleted. Or at least all of the ones on law enforcement and political issues, which is exactly the ones that my comments need to not be deleted from. Because if it's just like some someone's personal YouTube or something like that and they delete my comments, that's up to them. But this is on an issue which I'm not even allowed to vote because of the felonies that have been pinned on me. Understand that. Let me put this in context here for a second, okay? Let me put this in context. Let me talk straight to you, all right? And then we'll get back to dealing with the content, okay? When I was around middle school age, I was at a soccer game, and I met Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. I shook Hillary Clinton's hand and I said, if you ever run for president, I'll vote for you. Well, wouldn't you know it, Trump was running against her, and I got institutionalized because I was under attack and ended up having an unfortunate reaction to a medication that I was taking. Understand that I can explain this differently in a different context, but let me just put it that way, okay? For now. And was unable to vote at the time. Pause, because there's something happening. Then, when Trump became president the first time, how is that motherfucking possible? How many years passed? Yeah, 15 or 16 through 2019, 20, around there, right? Yeah, okay. So at the end of, when the Capitol raid happened, let me put it that way, when the Capitol raid happened, I was incarcerated for dealing with a terrorist, which the state then defended the terrorist and incarcerated me despite that state being heavily involved in my counterterrorism training. Okay? So let's let it rest right there for a minute. And that arrest, when they arrested me for that, they then ended up forcing me into a plea agreement because I was held for 7 months. You remember innocent until proven guilty? That is not what happened. There was no such thing as due process. And the pandemic is not an excuse for that, because I was welcomed at home. I was at home when I was arrested. Not in Maryland, in Virginia. So that was an infringement of my rights, and then it made it so that I couldn't vote. Go figure. You want to tell me about some this, that, or the other that makes it so I can vote? Go ahead and try to tell me, but I know what all of this is about. And so when I make YouTube comments on important political and legislative issues, issues about law enforcement, issues about constitutional rights, and those comments are deleted on channels that are general media outlets, that is unlawful censorship. 100% it is. Doesn't matter which side it's on. It's unlawful censorship. End of discussion. You're silencing my ability to have a voice in the public arena. Regardless of what you think I am or amn't, you're violating my constitutional rights. Even if it were a quote-unquote real felony, which you can argue it is all you want because of being the fact that you documented an arrest and held me in a DOC, what was claimed to be a DOC, you can talk all you want about that. But the fact of the matter is that I was born in D.C., circumcised in D.C., born and raised in the D.C. area because now, and for my almost entire life, I've lived about 10 minutes outside of D.C. in Northern Virginia. And I've spent my entire life learning about government because the curriculum in this area is very heavily focused on systems engineering from the perspective of a government area. Critical thinking, checks and balances, and familiarity with different branches of law enforcement. I don't care what the reasoning is. You see what I'm saying? I don't care what the reasoning is that you're using to delete my comments. You're not supposed to do that. And you can try all these tactics of like, oh, I'm putting it back up for certain people when they view it, but just not for you. And therefore you're crazy. And let's use that as another warrant to get you institutionalized, blah, blah, blah. We're totally not just trying to incite combat and force terrorism. That's what you're doing. And not me. You understand? So that's why I'm, YouTube's obviously compromised. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing what the next right thing is. America is obviously compromised. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing what the next right thing is. That's just how this works.